Good evening, everyone, and thank you to Amnesty Westminster Bayswater Group for giving me this opportunity to speak. I will focus on two topics. The first one, an overview on Bahrain. The second one is about my father, as this week marks his 10th anniversary since his arrest in 2011. I would like to start by acknowledging and honoring all those who have been persecuted for voicing their political views and beliefs. The question that I am addressing during this talk is, why is it said that although revolution is necessary, the continuation of the revolution is of even greater importance? It is important to note here that the fight for democracy in Bahrain has been ongoing for nearly 100 years. Since 1938, we have been campaigning and demanding widespread reforms, democratic political participation, and to end the persecution of Bahrainis. We have been demanding a peaceful transition to democracy. However, the political climate in Bahrain has grown increasingly hostile over the past decades. By 2010, the Al Khalifa regime controlled large parts of the country through the purchase and privatization of land, while at the same time living conditions were deteriorating for many Bahrainis, and government repression on free speech had increased significantly. Behind the facade of a parliament and general election, hundreds of people were being imprisoned for expressing their political views. The ruling elite began to rely more heavily on silencing opposition voices in order to suppress these demands for reform. Unsurprisingly, this situation boiled over into a series of protests during the Arab Spring of 2011. During this period, the Bahraini people were hopeful for change. Large group of people came together in anger over widespread repression, the denial of freedom of expression, sectarian discrimination, the privatization of land for the benefit of the ruling family, and the imprisonment of opposition activists and leaders. Unfortunately, repression has only become more widespread. This shows that the mentality of the ruling Al Khalifa family has not changed, and that change will not be realized unless the people persist in their struggle for democracy, equality, and dignity. The causes of Arab Spring still remain to this day. In fact, the very issues that instigated the 2011 protests have only worsened in the decade since. Following the revolution, the need for deep-rooted change has become even more critical, and these are some reasons. Firstly, people have been murdered on the street, including عيسى عبد الحسن, عيسى الرضي, بهية العرادي, عبد الرسول حجيري, and others. Secondly, prisoners have been tortured to death, such as Ali Saqr, Zakaria al-Ashiri, Karim Fakhrawi, and others like Muhammad Sahwan, Muhammad Mushaima have lost their life due to intentional lack of medical care in prison. Third, mosques and worship houses have been attacked and destroyed in a significant shift in the level of violations against people of Bahrain by the Al Khalifa regime. Fourth, women and children are being arrested, tortured, and convicted on trumped up charges. This is a new tactic that the regime are employing in infringes on the rights of women and children. Fifth, occupation. In this period, we have been invaded by Saudi and UAE troops to crash the revolution, which has not happened in our recent history. Sixth, revoking citizenship. The regime uses this tactic against opposition activists. Seventh, denying the right to freedom of religion. Sectarian discrimination has become normalized as part of the official government policy in the country. 8. The use of the death penalty against opposition activists, even when it has been proved they are innocent and were tortured into providing false confessions. 9. The increased use of torture and development of new torture tactics. Women have been raped and subjected to other horrific sexual abuses in prison. Children and elderly people are not exempt from the regime's tactics. 10th, living conditions have worsened and new restrictions have been imposed on citizens, such as fishermen, street vendor, small shop owners, and even pensioners' rights have been taken away. Despite this, members of the ruling family have continued to prosper and increase their personal wealth during this time, buying sports club in Europe and hosting a global sports event such as Formula One, just to whitewash their crimes. As you can see, there is even more of a need to continue the revolution of 2011. The regime has clearly shown that they are unwilling to change. They are not open to serious reforms, and the corruption that they have institutionalized will take a long time to eradicate it. Bahrain's allies will come to realize over time that they were wrong for supporting the regime. Eventually, the will of the people and their dreams of a better life for future generations will prevail over the military and economic might of the regime. The people have given the ultimate sacrifices, and we are at the point of no return, and only we can move forward toward establishing democracy. To honor our martyrs, history teaches us that we will prevail. Now, I will talk about my father's case. My father, Hassan Mushaima, is 73 years old. Tomorrow, he will have spent 10 years in a prison. My father was subjected to brutal torture, which he described in a lengthy statements. During his arrest and interrogation, they did not take into account his old age. Rather, this torture was supervised by a group of young people the age of his grandchildren. My father's crime, as is the case with thousands of citizens who have been subjected to arrest and torture, is that he was looking for a country where individuals are respected, where corruption is criminalized, and where justice is security prevail. This is not the first time that he was arrested and imprisoned. In the 90s, he was arrested for a period of 6 years without trial for the same reasons. The targeting did not stop after his arrest. While in prison, he experienced a range of abuses, from continued harassment to denial of medical treatment to torture. All this in order to break his will and make him regret his demands for political change. But obviously, this did not break him. He continued to fight, and the regime chose, because it was very much a choice to retaliate. The United Nations Committee confirmed that his arrest was arbitrary. Similarly, Amnesty International and the Human Rights Watch have classified my father as a prisoner of conscience, and repeatedly demands his freedom. The targeting was not limited to my father. All my brothers, many of my relatives, and I have all been subjected to arrest and torture. Furthermore, 3 of my cousins were unjustly killed. In this short speech, I would like to thank all who expressed sympathy and solidarity with my father, including MPs, organizations, and activists, and I ask them to continue exercising pressure to release all political prisoners and improve the environment for human rights defenders in Bahrain. 10 years in prison for simply expressing his opinions and his opposition to a brutal regime is absolutely unacceptable. I am here to say to countries allied with the supportive of Al Khalifa regime, especially Western governments, that through your political and military support for the regime, you are regrettably partners in the grave injustice that have befallen us. Your support exhibits a lack of respect for the universal value of democracy and human rights, the very rights you so frequently and publicity espouse. We will continue the struggle for freedom. We firmly believe that one day it will be achieved.